الصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. We continue Kitaab At-Tawheed this night of Wednesday, December the 26th, 6:49 p.m. 2018. A Gregorian calendar which agrees now on the Hijri calendar, which is Rabi' al-Thani, or the night of 18th of Rabi'. What can you do, right? On this night of Rabi' al-Thani, the 18th, 1440 after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wassalam. And we finished the chapter, Verily you do not guide whom you love. And we finished the chapter, and the last one we stopped at was pertaining to the Masa'il, or the matters that are mentioned at the end of the chapter. As we finalized the matters, we read them, extracted the benefits, and did our best, of course, to try to understand and comprehend what was the reasons of why the great Imam Al-Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, why he mentioned these matters at the end of the chapter. As you'll find, like we said, this is very beneficial from the eloquence and the good pattern that the great Imam wrote in these books and made in these books, in order for the students of knowledge and the people to understand and comprehend how to extract the evidences from what was mentioned throughout the chapter, or the different evidences that was mentioned throughout the chapter. He comes at the end and finalizes each chapter off with these matters that are mentioned. So you're able to now connect the matter with the evidence to tie them together. So the student of knowledge will become acclimated to extracting where the evidence is on and how he extracts the benefits and ties it in with the evidence. So every time he hears the evidence, he's able to extract the benefit. And it gets one's acclimated to do that until he becomes, if Allah gives him tawfiq, from those ulama, inshaAllah, which will allow him to see the evidences and be able to extract a matter that's connected with Kitaab and Sunnah, which is relevant to our religion and what we practice and profess Allah Ta'ala with every day. How does one do that? He hears the evidence, then he sees the benefit extracted from it. And he sees the matter that's extracted from it. To tie everything in together. Because some people hear evidence, but they don't realize what it contains of benefits and all the matters that's connected to it, that is relevant to, or that's pertaining to our religion and what we practice every day. A lot of people hear evidences, but they're not able to actually extract what is important for one to realize of one of the main reasons of why it was mentioned. For example, Allah Ta'ala mentions about what happened with the Jews and the Christians, and how they took their monks and their rabbis and their priests as lords besides Allah. A person will hear that evidence and he would think, well, how is that relevant to us pertaining to what takes place today? And he'll write, you'll find with the ulama in their writings that they extract from that particular evidences, for example, the impermissibility of pertaining or of participating in democracy or believing in democracy. How does someone, now if a person that was just reading this book in his house wouldn't be able to extract that. Why? Because the ulama know that democracy is the same thing as what happened with the Christians and the Jews, where they used to legislate laws that were in contrast to what Allah legislated. For example, Allah made a matter halal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made a matter lawful, and you'll find that their rabbis or their monks or their priests or whoever used to make that matter unlawful after Allah legislated it and made it lawful. And then that likewise the opposite. You'll find, like we said, you'll find that they used to also make certain matters unlawful, and Allah made it lawful. And they made it unlawful, meaning their Jews or their priests or their rabbis or their monks or their leaders or whoever. So you'll find how the ulama will tie in those matters, especially what's relevant to what's taking place today to the people and tie it all in. Because the people can read these evidences, they'll be like, oh, that's pertaining to the Jews and Christians, and just keep it moving. But you'll find the insight of Ahl Ilm, because of those who know how to extract the evidence or the benefit from the evidences, and the insight they were given go deeper than that. To say how it's connected now, to, for example, to people participating in democracy or participating in non-Muslim politics pertaining to democracy or what have you. Because we know in democracy, especially in the house of what the people come together for, what they call Majlis al-Nuwab or Parliament, or especially when it gathers a Congress, is you'll come that they come together and discuss certain legislations and laws to the land. And they come together and legislate their own laws. Rather, you'll find that they call them legislated members. Legislated members. All this is going to come, don't worry. Legislated members meaning that they make what? They make laws. They make legislations. And we know, as we'll talk about inshallah, that Islam is, people think that a lot of the Muslims, they think that unification of Allah is, I heard this ignorant statement from somebody, they told me the other day, that everyone knows Tawheed. Everyone knows Tawheed. That's the reason why you got people worshiping graves. They understand Tawheed. You have people participating in non-Muslim politics. They know Tawheed. So a person will say, how is that connected with Tawheed? Because you'll find a whole chapter that's going to come in this book, just as it's obligatory to unify Allah in His worship, it's obligatory from unifying Allah in His worship is submitting to everything that He laid down as a legislation of a law or a system. Because Allah set down everything that we needed for we could live a productive life in every aspect. Not only on the level of families or dealing with each other individually amongst ourselves, but even at the level of leadership, of how to run a land. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent everything down that we needed of legislation and laws to be ran by, for a land to be governed by or be ran by, or to be administrated by, so the land can be run properly. So no one will be oppressed, or no one will try to take over the one who's weak or dominate on one who's weak, meaning from the people who's impoverished. As we know, that's the system now. The system now that we live in right now is made for the rich to dominate and take advantage of the poor. Even though a lot of people think that's not, but that's the case. The whole system of riba here is made to make the rich more rich, and make the poor more exploited and oppressed. Like Islam now comes with laws, of course we know, to make everything justified. From that, to show the beauty of our religion is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislated zakat. Zakat is to benefit what? The impoverished, to benefit the poor. And for the rich to give of something that's not even an oppression upon them, to give that amount of money which will be returned back to those who are not in a fortunate state, or those who are impoverished, or those who live in poverty. The point I'm trying to make is, you'll find that the Ahl Ilm, they find these evidences in the book of Allah. From them is Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab. You'll find that he mentioned these matters at the end of the chapter. So you can see this benefit and tie it in with the evidence in the book to see how they extract everything, different rulings, different benefits. So it can get you accustomed to now, when you read the evidence, how to now extract the benefit from that, and how to extract something that's relevant or pertaining to everyone today, of how it's affecting their daily lives. Because we're not just reading these books just to read them. We're reading them because we're seeing how it affects us on a daily basis in our lives, how it has an effect, how it has an impact in our lives. And that is why we read this book. That's the reason why you'll find me mention examples as pertaining to what affects us every day, if you notice in my classes. Because that's a proper cultivator and teacher. He just doesn't read the book and just say, oh, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this, and then the Prophet forbade this. How is it relevant and connected to what's affecting the people today? That's where the people truly benefit. And that's why you'll find even the Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab mentioned benefits from that. And I'll give you an example right now. When he was talking about, he says the main mas'ala, for example, we just went and covered, if you look in the third matter, for example, al-mas'alatul kabira, the major matter, or the main matter, the name, or the given a tafsir of la ilaha illallah. He said, in contrast to those who claim to have knowledge. He's extracting that to tie in how, if you notice, We talked about what happened with the Prophet ﷺ's uncle, Abu Talib. Abu Talib, who truly understood the meaning of La ilaha illallah, and also his other uncle, Abu Jahl, Abu Talib, and those who are around him, all knew the understanding of La ilaha illallah. So now he tried to extract this. Matter of fact, he did. He extracted this benefit by saying, now take this, who are the mushrikeen, how they truly understood the meaning of La ilaha illallah and the right interpretation of it, and look to the Muslims of today, from the Sufis, for example. That's who he's talking about here. In contrast to those who claim to have knowledge, he's talking about the people of Islam. He's talking about Ahlul Millah. He's talking about those who ascribe to La ilaha illallah, who say it and utter it verbally. But they say it with their mouths, but they don't truly understand its meaning. He said, in contrast to those who claim to have knowledge, he's talking about Muslims. He's talking about Muslims who ascribe to this religion. You notice that, right, everyone? He said, in contrast to those who claim to have knowledge. Because he knew that there are what? Muslims out there that give the wrong interpretation of what? La ilaha illallah. So you notice that Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab tied the matter into what's affecting the people, especially at his time. That they were Muslims that said La ilaha illallah, but they didn't have the proper understanding of what? The meaning of it. And he wanted to show and display to them, look to the mushrikeen. They understood it properly. And why? Look at you, you say La ilaha illallah, you don't even understand it properly. That's why he even said in the fourth mas'ala, what did he say if you look in your books? He says that Abu Jahl and who was with him knew the meaning of what? La ilaha illallah. In sense that, hence, that the man, he said that Allah, the Prophet said to Abu Talib, Sa la ilaha illallah. What did he say at the end of the statement? Look, may Allah uglify the one who what? Abu Jahl is more knowledgeable than him in the foundation of the religion. He's talking about who? He's talking about Muslims. Muslims who ascribe to what? Islam, but they don't know the proper meaning of it. They don't even know the proper meaning of what even validates the Islam. That's how far a lot of people have deviated. That's how far the Muslims have deviated. To the point where they don't even know the proper meaning of what validates the Islam. Of the one word that if you utter it, you enter the fold of Islam. They don't even know the proper meaning of it. That's the reason why he said this dua. Because it said, how in the world could you say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and Abu Jahl is more knowledgeable than you, and something that validates your Islam, the mere fundamental principle that validates everyone in Islam, you're ignorant of. And he's talking about people from the Muslims, from those from the Sufiya, those from the different deviant sects, from the Asha'ira, and those who twist the meaning of La ilaha illallah by saying that the meaning of it is Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. The meaning of what we're saying, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa, so you see how Ahl Ilm have insight in extracting. Go into the evidences and able to extract certain affairs and certain matters and benefits and tie it in to what's pertinent or what's in direct correlation with what's taking place with the people of today. And to tie it all in. So it's not just mentioning the matter generally, because you'll find there are people out there, your people out there who mislead the people by teaching these books. Because you'll find that the people of Al-Bid'ah are starting to get more and more conniving. And they're becoming more beguiling with their way and their tax, or their so-called tactful way of trying to disseminate knowledge. They say, yeah, we'll teach Kitaab At-Tawheed, we'll teach Usul Thalatha. Yes, we're teaching it now. Yeah, they're teaching it. But how are they teaching it? That's how now you have to have more insight. Whereas when they teach these books, they're teaching you how it's connected to what affects you every day. And also likewise to those from the Muslims who deviated from the proper understanding of what was understood in these texts. Teaching you that. Because a person can just read you a book generally, but now are they going deep inside, number one, how there are people out there that misinterpret this meaning, that oppose this, even though they're Muslim, and how it's affecting you every day on a daily basis. That's a proper cultivator that truly knows how to teach these books, tie the affairs in together so the people truly benefit. So it's not just reading a book. It's taking the matters and connecting it to those affairs that are taking place and affecting us individually every day, or generally, or individually, or specifically. How it's affecting us every day, all day, in our daily lives, and this is what's important. That's what a person is truly a cultivator. But however, in most cases, a lot of the Muslims are sad, especially here in these areas, do not even teach these books. They wouldn't even want the name even mentioned in their masjid. But that's the reason why we say that it's very important to realize that the Imam, that he mentioned these matters so you can know how to extract the benefits from the ayat and the hadith that you read. And Ahl Ilm mention these matters to get you accustomed, and the student now to start opening up his mind and knowing how to what? Extract those benefits from the evidences. That's why he mentioned these matters at the end of the chapter. Some people say, oh, it's just a waste. Why does he keep mentioning these matters at the end of the chapter? No, he's mentioning them so you can tie in the evidence and extract the important matter from it. Or tie in the evidence or read the evidence and extract the benefit from it. Or tie, get the evidence and extract the benefit that's affecting us today. All those things are important, and that's the reason why he mentions it at the end of every chapter. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So the next chapter, this is Bab. ما جاء أن سبب كفر بني آدم وتركهم دينهم هو الغلو في الصالحين. He said the next chapter, Bab, the chapter which comes in the reason for the disbelief of the sons of Adam or the children of Adam is them leaving off their religion, or the reason for that is for them leaving off the proper religion or the proper belief and conviction and creed. It says them going to the extremes in the righteous. Going to the extremes in the righteous. I'll say it again. The chapter which comes in, the reason for why the children of Adam fell into disbelief, and them leaving off the proper religion, the reason for that is what? Al-Ghulu. Al-Ghulu. Going to the extremes in the righteous. Going to the extremes as it pertains to those who are righteous. So you notice that he inaugurated the chapter by using an ayah in the book of Allah. Because you'll find that the great Imam, at the end of every matter that he mentions, he always mentions the evidence from the book of Allah. And also from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which is also what the student knowledge needs to become acclimated into doing. Not just mentioning a matter, and that's it, but also having a matter memorized along with the evidence, or having a evidence memorized. This is also what he tries to what? Train the student, the knowledge of those who are learning upon this way. This way of what? Having the matter memorized along with the evidence. So you'll find that he used the evidence to support the matter he mentioned, which is the heading of the chapter, the title. He used the ayat to back it up, to support the reason of the title of the chapter. He says, the statement of Allah Ta'ala, وقول الله سبحانه جل في العلا يا أهل الكتاب لا تغلوا في دينكم ولا تقولوا على الله إلا الحق. I think it doesn't have the whole ayah in there. وإنما المسيح عيسى بن مريم رسول الله وكلمته ألقاها إلى مريم وروح منه فآمنوا بالله ورسله ولا تقولوا ثلاثة انتهوا خير لكم إنما الله إله واحد. Let me see the ayah. What does it say? No. يا أهل الكتاب لا تغلوا في دينكم ولا تقولوا على الله إلا الحق إنما المسيح عيسى بن مريم رسول الله وكلمته ألقاها إلى مريم وروح منه فآمنوا بالله ورسله ولا تقولوا ثلاثة انتهوا خير لكم إنما الله إله واحد سبحانه أن يكون له ولد له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض. To the end of the ayah, Allah Ta'ala says in his book, O people of the book, do not go to the extremes in your religion. And do not say upon Allah subhanahu jalla fil ula except the truth. Verily, Jesus, the son of Mary, if you look in your books, the ayah, I don't think the whole ayah is in your book. But if you go back to the ayah, which is in the Mus'haf, you'll find that read the whole ayah. So you can attain a bit more clarity in what we're reading. So you can now have the proper understanding. If you return back to the ayah in the Mus'haf, you'll find that the ayah reads as follows. Ya Ahl Kitab, do not go to the extremes in your religion. So Allah Ta'ala is talking about the Jews and the Christians, and He's addressing them. He said, do not say upon Allah except the truth. Verily, Jesus, the son of Mary, is a Rasulullah, is the message of Allah and His word. وَكَلِمَتُهُ أَلْقَاهَا إِلَى Maryam. He is the word that He casted to what? Maryam. He puts in the womb of Maryam. We'll discuss the meaning of that again. And He's the spirit from Him. We talked about this ayah before, but there's no problem in repeating it again. وَرُوحٌ مِّنْهُ. So believe in Allah and His messenger. or his messengers. Do not say 3. Refrain from this is better for you. Verily Allah is only one deity. Glory be to him that he have on a child, that he take on children. Verily belongs to him as everything in the heavens and the earth, to the end of the ayah, which we'll discuss inshallah. طيب. So now you'll find that the great Imam is mentioning of the reason of why, or from the tricks of shaitan. You'll find that shaitan has a methodology in corrupting the children of Adam. From the methodology that shaitan came with is what they call al-ghulu. Al-ghulu, being too extreme. Extreme in statements and actions, and also in belief. Statements and actions and belief. So al-ghulu is either can fall into what? في القول or في الفعل or في الاعتقاد. You'll find that extremism or extremism could be done by statements or actions or belief. Being extreme. Notice Allah Ta'ala used the word ghulu. He said, La taghlu. And Allah was addressing the people of the book. So in this you'll find this ayah, as you'll find from some of the Jews and the Christians, they'll say, well, your God that we worship, our God is different. No, this the same deity that you claim you worship improperly is the same deity we're worshiping. Why? Because Allah has mentioned Jesus, the son of Mary, and he's also addressing the Jews and the Christians. So that's the same deity that you claim you're worshiping. Is the same deity who's addressing you in this final revelation. So you'll find in the same book, Allah Ta'ala clarifies that the Jews and the Christians fell into what? Into this ghulu. They fell into this extremism. They fell into it. And that's what took them out, not only to the point where they left out of the proper guidance in the true message of the prophets and messengers, but to the point where they even nullified their belief system because of this affair called ghulu. Ghulu meaning being extreme. We know shaitan used this plot from the beginning of time. From the time of Nuh, the first messenger sent to humanity, the first Rasul that was sent to humanity, which was Nuh. And the first prophet was who? It was Adam. Nuh, as we know, the same plot that shaitan utilized, and he still is utilizing to this day, is the same plot what happened with Nuh and his people. As we know that polytheism had landed in the earth, or was when it was introduced in the earth, it was introduced by this way of ghulu. By what? By extremism. By being extreme. Extremism, either like we said in statements, or in love, or statements, or actions, or belief system. That is what happened with the people of Nuh and the followers of Nuh. And we know that no one believed in Nuh except a little bit of people, even though he remained in his people 950 years, giving them da'wah. As Nuh would have remained in his people 950 years. And no one believed in him except a small amount of people. For Nuh, from what happened or why his people fell into polytheism, I'm sure everyone is familiar with. It was in this whole chapters. I'm not going to get too deep in details in this. But the problem of what happened with the people of Nuh, they fell into polytheism because of them going extreme in those who are righteous. Now, starting to come with statements saying these people who are righteous who died, and who came and decorated them, and decorated their, first of all, their images, and decorated their statues, and then also decorated to them now. People started praising them and overpraising them. As we know that, what happened with Nuh, the first polytheism was introduced, why? Through extremism, and also likewise through pictures and images. That's also another reason why polytheism took place in the earth, because of statues, images, and also extremism. You'll find from the ways in which shaitan came to them, to the followers of Prophet Nuh, you'll find that he said, these are people who you find within yourselves high status, and you love them, and you glorify them. So why don't you now show, and out of so-called veneration or so-called reverence for them, put them at a level in which is higher than which Allah gave them. Which is now to what? Start to say that these are people that what? Are people now that we take between them and Allah as mediators and intercessors to draw close to Allah. So they started directing their worship to these righteous people. So which came as a result of it is the same thing which takes place today. What happened with the Jews, what happened with the Christians, and likewise what's happening with a lot of the Muslims these days. The same plot that Shaitan used from the first people who he led astray is the same plot that he's using and utilizing today. It's no different. Shaitan did the same thing to the Jews. He did the same thing to the Christians. And he's doing it to a lot of the Muslims, except those who hold on to the correct belief. For the Prophet, for as we know that Prophet Isa, you find that the majority of the Christians go to the extremes in Jesus, the son of Mary, by claiming and saying that he's either Rabb, he's a Lord. So he's now been what? Raised above a level that he was not given. You raise him to the level of being a Lord and being Lord, and being the one who dominates the heavens and the earth, or being a part of him, or being a third of him. For you'll find this type of, like we said, extremism was utilized by Shaitan and is still being utilized. You'll find that Ahl Kitaab, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses them and says, do not go to the extremes in your religion. Do not say upon Allah except the truth. Verily Al-Masih. Al-Masih. We'll talk about the meaning of why he was named Masih. As people, first person would start to say, what's the difference between Masih al-Dajjal or the Masih, Isa ibn Maryam? And why are both of them called Masih? Or the Messiah, as they so-called translated. As far as the Masih al-Dajjal, why is he called Masih? It's for two reasons. You'll find that Ahl al-Ilm say that the reason why the Dajjal is called Masih, just a quick benefit, I don't want to get too off the topic. As we know, there will be an Antichrist. There will be a Dajjal. There will be someone who will be the greatest fitna upon the people in the earth. And we know that everything is leading up to his release right now. Everything. The way the world is going, and the way you see how a lot of events are taking place, everything is leading up to the advent of the release of the Dajjal. And of those who you'll find who will be from, those who are the followers of the Dajjal, is the Jews, and a lot of people from Ahl al-Bid'ah, and a lot of people from the people of innovation. A lot of people don't know that. The people of innovation also will be a lot of his followers. From them is those who you know as the terrorists, who are called the Khawarij. The Khawarij will be from a lot of his followers, and the Jews, and a lot of them also who will be from his followers are women, who will come out of Medina when he tries to enter it, and Medina will purify itself and shake itself until a lot of people that will enter outside of Medina will go to him, as the women will be also deceived by him. Taib. We know that the Dajjal, when he comes, may Allah Ta'ala give us refuge from him and give you refuge from him. As we know, we've been commanded in every salat to seek refuge in him, in every prayer, which is to let you know that his fitna will be what? His fitna will be tremendous. It will be the greatest fitna to the point where even the prophets and the messengers before the Prophet ﷺ warned against him. To let you know how great of a fitna he will be upon the people of the earth. And like we talked about, it's leading up to the advent of his release very soon. And Allah knows best when it will happen. But you see the way things are going? That's what's going up to that. It's leading up to that. But at any rate, Masih al-Dajjal, I don't want to get us out of the Masih al-Dajjal too much, talking about the Masih al-Dajjal. The Masih, why he's called Masih? For two reasons. One of them is they say, أَنَّهُ سَيَمْسَحُ الْأَرْضَ 40 لَيْلَةً. They say that he will what? He will يَمْسَحَ الْأَرْض, meaning he will cover or wipe the earth 40 days, as we know. They say he's called Masih لِأَنَّهُ سَيَمْسَحُ الْأَرْض. As Masih means like to wipe something, Masih. As Masih, one of the reasons of Masih, or the meaning of Masih, is because he will what? He will wipe the earth, meaning that he will what? he will traverse and cover all of the lands of the earth in 40 days or 40 nights, except, as we know, the two places he will not be able to enter, which is Mecca and Medina. But that's the reason, one of the reasons why he's called Masih. That's one of the reasons why he's called what? Masih. Because he will yamsahul ard. He's going to what? Cover the earth, all of the places of the earth, everywhere, in 40 days. And we know when he comes, one day will be like a year. And another narration, as we know, the narration says one day will be like a year, and one day will be like a month, and one day will be like the week, and then one day will be like the rest of the days of which we normally are accustomed to knowing. But to let you know that when he comes, it's good things that are strange that we perceive to be the norm is going to go outside of it. Like he said, one day with him, when he comes, will be like a what? Will be like a year. Now, it says, we'll say, يوم كسنة, ويوم كشهر, ويوم كأسبوع, ويوم كسائر أيامكم هذه. That one day will be like a year, one day will be like a month, and one day will be like a week, and then the rest of the days that he'll remain will be like the rest of the days in which we are normally to knowing. The Masih ad-Dajjal, that was one of the reasons why he's called Masih, because he will cover the earth in 40 days, wreaking havoc, mass hysteria in a manner that is unprecedented and unimaginable. As he'll become, as we know, wreaking havoc upon this whole planet, this whole dunya. He'll be wreaking havoc, left and right. We know the Masih ad-Dajjal is called the Masih, number one, for that reason. The second reason why Ahl al-Ilm mention why it's called Masih is because he's Mamsuh al-Ayn al-Yumna. He's Mamsuh al-Ayn al-Yumna. Another reason why you'll find he's called Masih ad-Dajjal is because they say one of his eyes is Mamsuh, meaning it's been totally wiped out. One of his eyes are totally wiped out. A lot of people will think if they look at Sahih Muslim, it says that his right eye is wiped out. And if you look at Sahih Muslim, you'll find that it says that his left eye is wiped out. Seems like there's a contradiction. Both narrations are authentic. If you look in the book, look up Sahih Muslim, yes, you'll find it. You'll say, one of the narrations says, هو ممسوح العين اليمنى وفي رواية أخرى أنه ممسوح العين اليسرى. That he's one of his eye, his right eye is what? Wiped out. And it says in another narration that his left eye is wiped out. And both of them are what? Authentic. Both of them are authentic. So is he blind? Just to make just to sum up everything quickly. Ahl Ilm have come to this, as we know. First of all, a person might say, it might be what? Mansukh. They say that it's abrogated. As we know, firstly, you cannot resort to something being mansukh or abrogated unless you know the nasikh. Unless you know the text that abrogated it. And there isn't none here. Then a person would say, okay, let's resort to tarjih. Let's resort to now saying that the narration that says is right is what? More authentic than the narrations that say that his left eye is what? Wiped out. So they say that's tarjih, meaning just give the strongest opinion as far as the authenticity. However, both of them are high in this what? Authenticity. And you'll find that Ahl Ilm say in this regard, لا يصار إلى الترجيح إذا أمكن الجمع. That it's not resorted to what? Make it tarjih if the text can be what? All gathered together. إذا أمكن الجمع. Because it's better, you'll find that Ahl Ilm say that what? It's better that we now take the text and work by both of them, by taking a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, not wiping it out and just working by one, even though both of them are authentic. So now here in this mas'ala, they what? They now resort to what they call jama', gathering between the texts. So how do we understand these texts by saying that the what? That the Masih ad-Dajjal is wiped out in his right eye and his left eye. I mean, both. How do we now bring tawfiq and harmony between the texts? Just to give I don't think I want to get too complicated to this, but I'll keep everything concise. The meaning of the hadith is that they say that one of his eyes are completely wiped out, which is the right eye. It's completely wiped out. Done. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said in another narration, he says, وَإِنَّ رَبَّكُمْ لا يخفى عليكم إن ربكم ليس بأعور. He said, verily your Lord is not hidden from you. Verily your Lord is not one-eyed. So they saying here, based upon that narration, that the Prophet ﷺ is what? Saying that one of his eyes is completely what? Wiped out. As far as the narration, in regards to his left eye, then they say that the left eye of the Dajjal has some type of discrepancy in it. So he doesn't have two what? Eyes that are natural. One is totally wiped out, whereas the other has some type of what? It has a defect in it. So that's the meaning of that what? That other narration. By saying that the left eye is what? The left eye is also what? Wiped out, meaning that it has a defect in it. That's the reason why Ahl Ilm bring these what? These texts together. Instead of now taking both authentic texts, negating one and keeping the other. As that's not good in regards to what? Of dealing with and showing reverence and respect to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. That's why Ahl Ilm came with these type of qawa'id. Instead of now just saying, oh, that narration, just let's negate that one, take that out. No. If you'll find, if we're either able to gather between the texts, then we gather between them, whereas now we are able to what? Work by all of them. Work by all the authentic texts of the Prophet ﷺ. So you'll find that this was the meaning of the Dajjal. That he was what? That he's mamsuhul ayn al-yumna. That one of his eyes is completely wiped out. So based upon those two reasons, he's called what? Masih ad-Dajjal. Because he's either going to either cover the land in 40 nights, yamsah al-ard, because of the word Masih, he's going to what? Cover the land in 40 nights. Or because of one of his eyes is mamsuh, is totally what? Wiped out. That's the reason why he's called what? Masih. Not because he's a what? He's the Masih ibn Maryam, or the Messiah, Isa ibn Maryam, but because of these reasons. Either because of what? That's why he's called the Masih ad-Dajjal. The Prophet ﷺ described him as the Masih ad-Dajjal, the one-eyed liar. There's other benefits. There's a person would say, the fitna of the Dajjal, this is just a side point. The fitna of the Dajjal has already started, everyone. The fitna of the Dajjal has already started. How? Oh, you guys are giving me on a side point. The fitna of the Dajjal started. How? You'll find that Shaykh al-Islam mentions the fitna. No, this is just a side point. The fitna of the Dajjal breaks down to two types. You have fitnatuhu al-amma wa fitnatuhu al-khassa. You have the fitna of the Dajjal that is general, and you have the fitna of the Dajjal that is specific. Who is he talking about? The fitna of the Dajjal that is general, which is affecting everyone right now, is every caller of falsehood that's calling the Muslims by using decorated speech in order to mislead them and misguide them. That's all part of the fitna of the Masih ad-Dajjal. Because the Masih ad-Dajjal, what he's going to utilize in order to beguile and trick the people, is that he's going to come with decorated speech. Decorated and embellished speech in order to deceive you, fool you, and trick you so you can become misguided. Every caller of falsehood has their portion of the fitna of the Dajjal, because they are called, what, everyone? Dajjajila. They're called Dajjal. You'll find that Ahl Ilm call certain callers of evil Dajjal. Why? People say, man, that's kind of harsh. No, because the same pattern that he's utilizing in order to misguide people is the same pattern that the Dajjal is going to utilize to misguide people once he's released. By coming people and using decorated speech in order to allure people to come with this speech that has trickery in it, is decorated, it has eloquence, it's beautified, it's embellished, so it can grab you. Then you come from those who are what? Misguided. So that's the reason why you'll find that Ahl Ilm will call certain people and certain callers of misguidance Dajjalu min ad-Dajjajila. That so-and-so is a Dajjal from the Dajjajila. And you'll find that even Sheikh Rabi' used to call, what's the name, Adnan Ar-Ur. One of the different deviant callers of today, his name was Adnan Ar-Ur. He used to call him Dajjal min ad-Dajjajila. Why? Because he used to come with decorated speech. He used to come with a nice long beard, with this soft speech, and come with this decorated, embellished speech, and this type of pattern that can what? Grab you. And then he can what? He'll start putting this poison inside of you, misguiding the Muslims. That's why you described him as a what? Dajjal, min ad-Dajjajila. And we know that the Prophet ﷺ had talked about that there's going to be Dajjajila. That's going to be from his what? His ummah, where those misguided people, who these misguided callers, are more of a fitna upon his ummah than the Dajjal himself. Why? Why, everyone? A person would say, is a narration of the Prophet ﷺ even mentioned it, said, أَخْوَفُ مَا أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنَ الْمَسِيحِ الدَّجَّالِ. He said, what do I have more fear for you than the Masih Dajjal himself? And the Prophet ﷺ answered, he said, Al-A'immatul Mudilleen. He said, those people, those callers, those misguided callers of misguidance who will come. And they are more dangerous and I have more fear upon you than the Masih Dajjal himself. Why did the Prophet ﷺ say that though? The Prophet ﷺ said this, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, because of this reason. Because the Masih Dajjal, when he comes, every believer will be able to read between his eyes, kafara, kafir. يَقْرَأُهُ كُلُّ مُؤْمِنٍ كَاتِبًا أَوْ غَيْرِ كَاتِبٍ, as the Prophet ﷺ said. That the mu'min, when he sees the Masih Dajjal, that every person who's upon correct belief, Salafiyah, truth, haqq, they're upon iman, that the Dajjal will have written in between his eyes, kafara, kafir, disbeliever. Everybody will be able to read it, whether he's illiterate or illiterate, as the Prophet ﷺ said. Whether he be literate or illiterate, he will be able to read it. How is that connected to what we're talking about now, everyone? Because the miscallers and misguidance of now, today, they do not have anything on their faces. The misguiders, the people of misguidance, and those who are calling to what's incorrect, don't have anything written on them. You can't tell. There's no what? There's no sign. Except by what? Except by innovating with some type of speech in which the people of insight and people of knowledge can what? Can see it and hear it. Even though the common folk is sad, it's sad to say in these days and times that everybody think they're jack of all trades to the point they even start to talk bad about the student of knowledge. Oh, I don't hear him say anything wrong. I don't know what y'all guys talking about. Oh, y'all always talking about how y'all think y'all can hear misguidance. And then you guys become from those who will follow them. And it will come out later that they truly were people of misguidance. Oh, didn't you say to them? But I thought you could hear the misguidance when you heard it. Now you become from his followers. But you can hear it. You can see it. Well, I can now decipher what's right and what's wrong. Couldn't you really? You really can. That's why we'll say to the people, then challenge them. Did you finish Usul al-Sunnah? Did you focus Usul I'tiqa'at al-Sunnah? Did you read books of Kitaab al-Sharia? Did you study them at the hands of the ulama? Did you acquire the experience with them? How they used to see and have insight in knowing when people make certain statements? So you can know when somebody's making a statement that they're trying to now bring something that is now utilized in order to implant misguidance inside of the people. But that's the reason why we say, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa. The insight that the people of knowledge have, that they can hear statements and know the patterns and the different types of ways or methodologies that are utilized to know when a person is a person of misguidance. From those signs, the Dajjal has the what? The word kafir written between his eyes. And the other signs. And the other signs. As we'll talk about on another occasion, inshallah. And the other signs. And the only way that you'll find that the person who will be the true shaheed, that the Prophet ﷺ talked about, who will kill the Dajjal, is the one who was given knowledge. The one who will be able to kill the Dajjal and will have the highest level of martyrdom, as it says and it comes in the hadith of Sahih Muslim, is the one who had what? The one who had knowledge of Kitaab and Sunnah. You're going to notice that the man who the Dajjal will kill him and bring him back to life. And then he said, don't you see, am I not your Lord? The man will say, I have not increased except in more insight, and you're the Dajjal that the Prophet ﷺ informed us of. He's talking about, based upon, he had knowledge of Kitaab and Sunnah, which gave him insight to know that he truly was the what? The Dajjal. Until the Messenger of Allah said at the end of the narration, he is one of the highest levels of those who attain martyrdom on the day of resurrection. Based upon the knowledge he possessed, and he was able to, by his insight and knowledge, to know that he was what? He was truly the Dajjal. By his knowledge of Kitab and Sunnah and proper Aqidah, and also him being well grounded in the usul of Ahl Sunnah, so he can know truly that he was a what? Called a misguidance. However, in regards to these callers that we're living in today, they don't have anything between their eyes. So how are you able to now what? Decipher whether or not that person is a person of misguidance? That's the reason why the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith that I'm afraid for you, for these people, more than the Masih ad-Dajjal. Because their signs are not clear. In regards to the Dajjal, his signs will be clear. His eyes will be what? He'll have a defect. He'll start to come with decorated speech, and it's written between his eyes what? Kafir. Signs, clear. Prophet ﷺ made it. In contrast to those misguided callers, they don't have anything between their eyes. Rather, they come with what? Clothes that look just like us. Have a beard, have a thobe, have both thobes above their ankles. They have their clothes wearing a certain way. They have their dye. Some of them have henna in their beards. Some of them have their pants above their ankles. And these people are the most what? Dangerous. Those who impersonate you, but what you're upon is in totally contrast to what they're upon, and what they're upon is in totally contrast to what you're upon. You'll find there are Muslims out there that look just like the Muslims. And if you hear them open their mouth, it's like they're upon something totally different. Something totally different. From them is the Sufis. From them, from the Ahbash. From them, when they start to speak, you'll be thinking, SubhanAllah, what are you? Some of them, you have to even ask them, what are you? You understand what I'm saying, everyone? And that's the reason why, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa, the Prophet ﷺ was afraid for this ummah of these people, what? More than the Dajjal. Is it clear? Is it clear what I'm saying? Because like we said, the Dajjal is going to come with embellished, decorated speech in order to misguide the people. Until the Prophet ﷺ had talked about that there will be a believer that thinks he is well grounded, like how the people believe here. Oh, I can listen to so-and-so and I can decipher what is wrong. I can decipher what's right. Listen to what the Prophet ﷺ's hadith said in Sunan Abi Dawud. He said a person will come to the Dajjal, and he said he will think that he is what? That he is well knowledge, he's well versed. I can decipher what's between haqq and batil. He will come to him, and he will what? And by the time the Dajjal is so finished with him, he will become from his followers. And the Prophet ﷺ said he will come to him as a believer, and he will leave from the Dajjal as a disbeliever, rather be coming from what? One of his followers. And that's exactly what takes place today. Exactly. Person thinking that, oh, I'm Salafi, I'm this, I could go listen to what's correct and decipher what's the falsehood they saying and all this until you find yourself what? From their followers and from those who you defend, or you're defending them now, and you're from those his defenders or those people who defend him. Oh, y'all guys are just jealous. Look at you followers from his followers now. You understand, everyone? So this is the reason why we said that the Masih ad-Dajjal is called the Dajjal for these reasons. He's called Masih for those two reasons. The first one is what? Because he will cover the earth for 40 days. The second one is because of what? One of his eyes is totally what? Wiped out. As the Prophet ﷺ said, كَأَنَّهَا عِنَبَةٌ طَافِيَةٌ. As if it's a protruding what? As if it's a protruding grape. You'll find his narrations that talks about his forehead will be protruding, sticking out. That he's short, he's fat, he's kind of chubby. What we understand, they call him bow-legged, I think they say. Bow-legged. It's a lot of the characteristics of him. He said he's kind of short, he's kind of leaning towards red complexion. He's kind of chubby, he's kind of big. He's also bow-legged. Prophet ﷺ gave him what? Explicit characteristics to know who he is and what he looks like and what type of speech he's going to come with and the different type of treachery and trickery he's going to come with to deceive you. To the point where the biggest fitna is, it says in the last, some of the narrations, that said those who believe in him will have some of the luxury of this dunya. Will have luxury of this dunya. And they will be living in opulence, and they will be living in enjoyment in this world. And those who disbelieve in him, even though they're upon the truth, he's going to come by the permission of Allah. Allah's going to allow him to have this type of khariq, this type of ability. That he said that the people disbelieve in him, he's going to now destroy their land. They're going to come upon the morning and find that their crops will be destroyed, their food will be destroyed, their land will be destroyed, be decimated. Totally what? Destroyed. That's a fitna. To the point where he allowed their whole land to be destroyed for those who disbelieved in him. That's a fitna. Those who disbelieve in him, but those who believe in him will be in what? opulence, enjoyment. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, he'll also have with him what? Fire, and have with him a garden. And if he casts you into the fire, know that that fire is what? Is the garden. It's the paradise. And if he has with that which is a paradise, know for sure that that's the what? That's the fire. Everything will be switched. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Fine. We'll talk about that in more of his details. As far as the Isa, his name is called Masih. Why do you think his name is called Masih? Tafadal. What was from his miracles? He used to what? By what? Jayin. That Masih, one of the reasons why it's called Masih is because they say that he used to wipe over the what? Over the leper. He used to wipe over those who were what? Over sick. And they used to become what? They become healed. So he was called Masih. He used to wipe over the sick and they would become what? They would become healed. How much time we got? About 10 more minutes. Al-Masih was called Masih because he used to wipe over the what? Over the sick and they would become healed. By the permission of Allah. As you'll find in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah Ta'ala talks about this matter, how Masih used to cure people by, and you notice Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will mention at every part of the ayah, bi-idhni. Remember that you cured so-and-so by my permission. And you remember that you did so-and-so and brought death back to life by my permission. By my permission. By my permission. By my permission. Why is that to show what, everyone? That all these affairs took place only by what? By Allah's permission. For Masih ibn Maryam, if you notice in the ayah, look in your books, it says that Masih, or Isa ibn Maryam, that he was called the Messenger of Allah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that he was truly a what? Messenger of Allah. As we know, that is also from the major signs of the hour. The releasement of the Masih Dajjal will be from the what? The major signs of the hour, right everyone? The major signs of the day of resurrection, from them is the releasement of who? The Masih Dajjal. Then we know that what? Isa will be not released, but however he would descend. Isa ibn Maryam right now is in paradise. Or he's in the heavens, excuse me. You see, he's in the heavens, excuse me. Sorry, everyone. In the heavens. In the heavens, in a way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. When he descends, he will be descending upon, as we know, 2 angels that will descend with him. Isa ibn Maryam, he was never killed on the cross. That's the reason why he never died. Person would say, see, that shows that he was a great prophet, messenger, that the angels will bring him back to the point where he descended upon or between 2 angels. That's because Jesus, the son of Mary, never was crucified. Do you believe in that? And Allah Ta'ala himself has said that. That we know that Isa ibn Maryam was not crucified, rather they crucified another person in his place, and Allah cast the resemblance of Jesus over that individual. So that was to foil the plot of who? Of the Romans were involved, of course, of those who are from the co-conspirators. That was the Romans were from the co-conspirators, but those who conspired upon to kill Jesus, as we know, was the Yahuds, the Jews. It was the Jews and also the Romans who were involved. But they were all the co-conspirators, but they all played part inside of that particular conspiracy. But anyway, Allah Ta'ala foiled the plot of them, all of them. So when Isa was about to be what? So-called caught, and we know that the affair had reached the level to the point where, as we know, that the Jews had killed some of the prophets, and they wanted to kill also who? Jesus, the son of Mary. So they wanted to kill him, but Allah Ta'ala foiled their plot by what? By raising Isa up to the heavens before they actually what? Caught him. So this nullifies the Christian belief and the polytheistic symbolistic thing that they wear around their necks of the cross, that they wear it for no benefit at all. Why? Because Jesus never died on it at all. So what's the reason why you wear it? It's a polytheist, symbolistic type of polytheistic wear in which the Prophet ﷺ described. But anyway, for what we say, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa, Jesus, the son of Mary, was raised to the heaven before they actually caught him. So he never was crucified. So the whole religion of Christianity is what, everyone? Baseless. False. Done. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Fine. The Isa ibn Maryam now, when he was raised, of course we know from the signs of the hour, in order for the Dajjal to be killed, the Isa will what? Descend. The Isa ibn Maryam, as we know, was created. What they call that immaculate, as the Christians call it, immaculate conception. Or he was created, or his way he was given birth was in a very, very strange manner, where he was given birth without a what? Without a father. And without a woman being what? Touched, which is mother. Taib. That is the reason of why it says in that ayah, if you look in your books, kalimatuhu, his word. As I told everyone last class, the word here, kalimatuhu, his word, the meaning is that doesn't mean that Jesus was the word, everyone. Does it mean that Jesus was the word? Or was he created by the word be? Huh? Which one? That Jesus, the son of Mary, was created by the word be. That's the meaning of the ayah. It's the ayah in your book, but you have to. They didn't put it in there. They just They put a part of the ayah. The full ayah is in what you go back to the Mus'haf. If they didn't put the whole ayah in your books, it's not in there. But that's this. I'm saying the full ayah. Yeah, it's in that ayah. What he opened the chapter up with. If you look at the full ayah, everyone, it says that Isa ibn Maryam is the message of Allah. He says in his word. His word meaning what? Meaning that the word that Allah Ta'ala created Isa by the word be. And he was. He said kun fayakun. Allah Ta'ala said be and he was. Or Isa became created by the word be. However, the Christians fell into what? Believing that he was the word be. That he was created. That the word was created. We'll get into that right now. Anyway, the kalimatuhu, the word that Isa was the word, meaning that Isa was created in a manner which shows the perfect ability of Allah, how it's complete. Meaning that Allah could create what he wants in contrast to what is known amongst the creation of how a child will be conceived or will be created, which is by two parents becoming what? Intimate with each other, and then the woman what? Becomes what? Pregnant, and she gives birth, right? Allah Ta'ala wanted to show us what? Perfect ability, that he could do whatever he wants. Until Allah Ta'ala created a soul by the word be. All right, we got 10 minutes. He created the soul. That soul in which was blown into the womb of Maryam. That angel Jibreel came and blew the soul into Maryam. Which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to show that a human being could be created without any type of touch or intimacy from a female or from the couples. And also be born without a father. They could be born without a father, be created and conceived without a father. Because Allah Ta'ala is not the father of Isa. He's not. But however, Allah Ta'ala wanted to what? Wanted to show that what? That the human being, that he can create what he wants in a manner that he wants. Rather, like you will find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refuted this notion that if you wanted to say so-called that Isa was something special about him, Adam is more befitting than that description than Isa. Because Adam was created without a mother or father. And you still do not give him this what? This status. So what's so different between Adam and Isa? The Isa ibn Maryam is no more than a prophet that Allah Ta'ala wanted to show that his ability is complete, in which he displayed by creating a soul. By saying be, that soul that was created was blown in the womb, or was put in the womb of Maryam by Jibreel, by Allah Ta'ala's permission. That soul that was created, that Allah created, and it was put in the womb of what? Of Maryam, and then Maryam became what? Pregnant by Isa ibn Maryam. So the meaning of word here in the ayat is everyone is not that Isa was the word, but the meaning of his word, meaning the word in which Isa was created by, which is the word be. That's it. Is it clear what I'm saying? That's the meaning of it. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said be, and it was. And it became to what? Existence. That's it. No more, no less. So he says, Allah Ta'ala said that his word that he cast it into Maryam and his soul from him. We talked about the meaning of this ayah. Soul from him means what? Idafatun iktasabat tashrif. An addition, or what they call a connection, that what? Iktasabat tashrif. That has now acquired what they call showing something in high status. Not because of it was a part of a law. I want everyone to understand this point. This is very important. As I said before, and I said this to you guys about 6, 7, 8 months ago, that you'll find that Allah Ta'ala connects things from the creation in his book in certain contexts. From them, it breaks down to 3 categories. You have Allah Ta'ala connecting a characteristic to him. Hikmatullah, the ilm Allah, the knowledge of Allah, the wisdom of Allah, for example. Or, for example, ilm Allah, rizq Allah, the provisions of Allah, ilm Allah, hikmat Allah. طيب. Those matters is the first category. This is very important. You'll find in the Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala connects what they call idafat al-sifa ila al-mawsuf. Connecting what? Connecting the characteristic to something being described. Connecting the characteristic to the one being described is the first what? Category. So when you see in the Quran, if you read the Mus'haf, knowledge of Allah, wisdom of Allah, this is connecting what? The characteristic to the one being described, who is Allah. And that's not created. Is it clear? That's not created. The second category, ya ma'ashal ikhwan, is what they call idafatul tashrif. Or idafatun iktasabat tashrif. You'll find that Allah connects things from the creation in his book to himself. Whereas, you finish? So why you throw your book out? Say it again. I'm not finished. The second category is what they call idafat al-tashrif. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his book, you'll find that he connects something with himself from the creation in his book. For example, this is naqatullah, the she camel of Allah, naqatullah, baytullah, the house of Allah, the she camel of Allah. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? She camel of Allah, the book of Allah, Kitaab Allah alaykum, as it says in the ayah, book of Allah, she camel of Allah, house of Allah, the sacred house of Allah. Didn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala connect these things to himself in his book? This type of connection, everyone, is called idafatun iktasabat tashrif. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by connecting these things that are created to himself in his book, in the Quran, when he mentions it in his book, in the ayat, he wanted to show that these things are very special. And they have a very high status with him. And these things have acquired high honor and status with Allah. For example, house of Allah, Mecca. Excuse me. The Kaaba. The Kaaba, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala connected it to himself, which wanted to show what, everyone? It's special, has high status. The she-camel of Allah, what happened with the people of Salih, who they killed, which came as a result of it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them, after he told them to stay away from it, don't touch it with evil. So, naqatullah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala connected the she-camel of Allah to himself, he wanted to show that thing had a special what? Has something special about it. That second category is called idafat tashrif. Connecting something that has high status, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when they connected it to himself, it what? Showing high status of that thing and high level of that thing. Then you have the third, which is called idafat al-makhluq ila al-khaliq. Connecting the creation to the creator. For example, what everyone? You could say the son of Allah, or the law, it's هذا خلق Allah. You're looking at the sun and say it's the creation of Allah. Or let's just say, for example, a non-Muslim. Or a mushrik. Isn't he still from the creation of Allah? He's still from the creation of Allah. خلق Allah, هذا خلق Allah. He's still from Bashar Allah, from the Bashar in which Allah created. لا هذا من بشر الله ومن بني آدم. From those from Bani Adam or the children of Adam. All those type is the third category, connecting the what? The one who's created to the what? To the creator. Nothing special about it, but it's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was still created. طيب. Jesus, the son of Mary, the soul from him. Which category is that, everyone? First, second, or third? It's the second. The second category. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to show that the soul of Isa was something special about it. Not because the soul was something that was broke off from Allah. But someone will probably think of that ayah. If they read that ayah and they read the Quran, the spirit from him means that the spirit must have been what? Part of Allah. That's what happened with the Christians. The Christians started now breaking Allah ta'ala into these three parts, as they say, which is some of them from their denominations, which is those involved in Catholicism, saying that he was either the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, breaking them up into three, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited in his book, saying that those who say that they've disbelieved, as we know. طيب. For what you see in this book, or in this ayah, Spirit of Allah means what? Which category? The second category. It's an idafatun iktasabat tashrif. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to show there is a special, something very special and unique. Very unique, has a distinguishing factor about it that stands out from the rest of creation, from the creations that Allah created, which is that the soul was created by the word be, not by a father, was put in the womb of the mother and it was conceived, and the child was born by that way. Isn't that something special? That's something very special. And on top of that, he was a prophet and a messenger of Allah. That's very special. So this type of idaf or connection, we say that it's a connection that is what? Attained to tashrif. To show there's something showing high honor about it, a distinguishing factor about it. It's very unique, stands out from the rest of the creation, which it was created by what? By the word be. It was conceived without a father and without of the mother being intimate with a man. And these affairs to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? Able to do all affairs. He can he can create in a manner what he wants. Ta'ala. That's the reason why the ayah it says spirit from him. Not because he was a part of Allah broken off. Because it is what? Allah wanted to show that the spirit has something special about it. No more, no less. The second category. The Christians believe that is what? It was a part of Allah. That's where they mixed up everything. Because they don't have no principles. They don't have no qawaid. All these principles that we're learning, they don't have it. They just go by their what? Mere feelings. What I feel, how I feel. Not based nothing being upon insight or knowledge or proofs or evidences. Like we said, the religion of the Christians, if you want to sum it up, is just like saying outside, like we talked about last class, right? Everyone knows it's 7:57 p.m. right now, and that it's dark outside. Based upon the ideologies of the Christians and how they feel, it's morning time and it's daylight right now. Well, no, it's nighttime. No, it's daytime. No, it's night. No, it's day. You have to believe it's day. I know it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. You just got to believe it's the daytime. That's when you say, no, it's clear. It's clear. You go outside, it's dark. The time chose it is dark. Clear proofs and evidence. The time is the evening time. It's dark. No. It's daytime. You just got to believe it. Just have faith, and that's it. That's their belief system. You understand, everyone? Just like I gave you other examples. The Christians are based upon their type of ideologies of belief. 2 plus 2 to them, or 1 plus 1 to them equals 3 or 4. You say, actually, what are you talking about? 1 plus 1 equals 2. If you get 1, 1's 2. Clear. No. I know it doesn't make sense, but you have to believe that 1 plus 1 equals 3. that eventually one day it will evolve into becoming 3. That's the belief of the Christians. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Absolute no sense. Baseless. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has refuted this nonsense all throughout his book. Now, Jesus never even died on the cross. That Jesus was not a part of Allah. That he doesn't have any children. That Jesus was the son of Allah. And to the end of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, which is clear. And Allah ta'ala talk about how Jesus is going to bear witness against the Christians on the day of resurrection. Allah has given us clear evidence and proofs. How can a person leave outside what is correct after this? After this type of clarification, that's only tawfiq from Allah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us all firm. We'll stop here. Any questions about the lesson? Anyone? Fadl. Yeah, that was specific. The Dajjal has a specific fitna. That's when he will be released himself. But every caller of falsehood that decorates his speech, and the people are fooled by it, have now been affected by the fitna of the Dajjal some type of way, indirectly. Because every type of misguidance of what's utilized, or what's in order for the person to be taken astray by decorated speech, and to believe in falsehood or embrace it by decorated speech, is part of the fitna of the Dajjal. Because that's going to be one of his ultimate ways that he's going to deceive people, is by decorating his speech. He's going to decorate it to the point where people will not be able to decipher whether or not what he's saying is true and false. Rather, they're going to believe him. He's going to be so deceitful and so filled with so much trickery and treachery and deceitful, and so much speech is going to be decorated to the point where a person will not be able to deny that he's that he's truly, as he's going to claim, he's Lord. He's going to claim rububiyyah of Allah. He's going to say, I'm the of your Lord. The Prophet ﷺ said, Inna rabbakum la yakhfa alaykum. Your Lord is not hidden from you. We'll talk about the meaning of that later. Because that has some benefits in it. That has some benefits to usul of At-Tawheed that we'll talk about later. Tafadal. I'll talk about that later. For what comes to my mind right now, just keep that one. That he will wipe over the sick and they'll become what? They'll become healed. But that's the second fitna of the Dajjal. Fitna that's supposed to be specific to him being released. So this general fitna is everyone that's been affected by evil callers. And they've been misguided. Has been affected by the fitna of what? Of the Dajjal. Indirectly. But now the direct fitna when he's released, that will be specifically with his fitna. Is it clear? Huh? Look at how many people is being deceived by the fitna of the Dajjal right now. A lot. A lot. Muslim and non-Muslim. Who listen to so many callers of decorated speech and they're going astray every day. And are victimized or have attained their portion of the fitna of the Dajjal. Tafadal. We would say the wrath of Allah, or retribution of Allah, or that what we say in this regard, we would say that's not a characteristic of Allah. The wrath of Allah. But we say that those characteristics are for what is done as a reciprocal, because of a repayment that Allah gives to certain people. But things such as retribution or punishment, we don't say there are characteristics of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You understand? No, but this evil, Allah ta'ala allows it. He's the one that actually does it to the creation. He does it to the creation. But we don't say that those are characteristics of Allah. Wrath of Allah or evil of Allah. No, you don't say that. You don't say that. Allah is evil of Allah or retribution of Allah. No. Anything else? Tafadal. Say it again. I'm sorry. Say the question again. Allah connected the creation to himself. And he's not likening them. He's just showing that they have a special thing about it. That's all. If you notice, we're talking about, and if you look and open up the Quran, Allah in certain contexts in the actual verses itself connects something of the creation to himself, meaning in the actual wording, not in the resemblance context form. For example, you'll say, هذه ناقة الله سآية. هذه ناقة الله لكم آية. لا تمسوها بسوء. That this is the she-camel of Allah. This is the she-camel of Allah. Don't touch it with evil. This was Salih said to his people. She-camel of Allah. That's what you call Allah in the context is connected the she-camel to Allah. Is it in a form of resemblance, or is it in a form of just showing that there's something special about it? Something special about it. It's nothing to do with resemblance. No. What we're talking about right now has nothing to do with resemblance. No, they don't use connection. You'll find that it depends on the context of the sentence. You can say she-camel of Allah or spirit from him. It could be utilized like that. Idafat to Tashriq could be utilized saying something from him. Or for example, soul from Allah. That's what it says here in this context. Soul from Allah. Is it saying there's a resemblance? It's just saying that there's what? Something special about it. That's it. No more, no less. Anything else, everyone? Don't make things more confusing or complicate things on yourself. As far as what? Ahsant. Khalil Rahman. Khalil Allah or Khalil Rahman. The close friend of Allah, Ar-Rahman. No. Same thing. Idafat to Tashrif. Second category. Same thing. Anything else? هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك